Hey, welcome to Loving the Real World. Today I'm talking about cars that made a lasting impression on me. Some of them I only remember from the pictures that I've seen, but some of the cars I grew up with, and some of the cars I still have today. Each of them have a unique story. So sit back, relax, and travel down memory lane with me. These first few cars here are my dad's when I was very little. This is my dad in front of his Ford. He always liked two doors. This is my mom, my brother, and me. And he liked manual transmissions like almost everybody does. And this Galaxy 500 is the first four-door that we ever had. And we took a lot of trips laying up in the back window. I remember going down to Florida, and all we had was the four windows down and the air coming in, and I could not imagine doing that today. This is actually my very first car I ever had. It was an Opel Mana. It had first, second, and fourth gear. Didn't have third. But me and my brother, we shared this car backwards and forwards, and I finally ended up jumping it, and I broke the frame right underneath the driver's seat, coming off the lake into a parking lot. This is a '69 Buick Lesabre. This is my mom's first brand new car that I remember having. It actually had air conditioning, and my brother actually blew the motor up right before the warranty ran out. I think, and he got in, some policemen chased him, and he was over 100 miles per hour. It had a 400 in it. This is a 1975 Camaro, similar to the one my brother had, and he traded it for a 76 Dodge van. And I always thought that was one of the worst deals you could possibly do. But all his friends had a van, and he thought he needed one too. So he traded this beautiful 75 Camaro LT for a Dodge van. I did a video about this story about the '77 Cutlass I totaled. It was a beautiful car, and there was so many like it. I remember one time the police guy after me, and I got to the end of the road, and I just swept it around, and I drove back down the road at 35 miles per hour, and it went flying right past me. There were so many of these cars. But check out the video about me totaling this car. It was a shame to see. Beautiful car. This car is the one that got me put in jail when I outran the cops. I actually outran the cops 100 times before they actually caught me one time. But this is Joe Cool standing beside of his Camaro Z28 back in the day. Anyway, that was check out that video also. This was my Chevette scooter. It had a hooker header on it and oversized jets on it. It was a really fun car. I actually outran a 240Z coming home from school one day because I was crazy enough to turn it completely sideways and slide it down a hill and pass him on a 90-degree blind turn. Don't do what I did, or what I did. I would never do that again today. But I also power slid this one time and rolled both tires off of the driver's side in the snow. And I had to get a ride home. I actually had to get it towed because you don't carry two spares with you at the same time, and we didn't have air tanks back then. This was the first dune buggy I ever rented, and I almost got the bug and bought one for myself, but never did. It was a lot of fun. I think we were down in Daytona. I can't remember. It might have been Panama City. It was somewhere. But we had a lot of fun down there just cruising the strip in this thing. This is I think it was a '75 Monte Carlo. My first wife, it was her car. We ended up putting wire wheels on this, and it turned out to be a real fun car too, a real nice car. Actually, there was one day I was driving it, and my wife at the time had her feet across my lap while I was driving it, and she wanted to get up and knocked the car from drive to reverse at 55 miles per hour, and threw off every belt on the motor. And I had to get my dad to come down and bring me new power steering belt, air conditioning belt, fan belt, everything. So we had 3 belts on the car back then. Bought this little convertible, and this was the thing that got me started on convertibles. Convertibles were not allowed in the United States for a while, and Chevelle came out with this little convertible, and I just fell in love with it. And every time you went to a gas station, everybody made a fuss about it. It was a real fun car. Sitting out in front. This was my first house I also ever had. But I got caught coming back from Franklin, North Carolina, in this car with the top down, and I topped the hill and had a radar detector in it, and it went off, and I hit the brakes pretty hard and got it slowed down a little bit, and the Franklin police came up to me and said, do you know you was doing 100 miles per hour, excess of 100 miles per hour? And I said I had the slightest idea that this car could run that fast. But he said, but before I could lock it in, you was doing 75, so I'm going to give you a ticket for 75. So I was able to mail it in. And but she loved the car at the time. That was my wife's car at that time. This is my first boat I ever bought. I actually traded a 1955 Chevelle pickup for this boat, and we had a heartbreak after a while because I really wish I still had that 55 Chevy. This is my grandmother and my son, and in the background you see my little Isuzu pickup. This little Isuzu pickup went through me, my brother, and the young man that's there, Cody. He actually drove this truck for a while after he started driving. So it lasted a long time. It was a very durable truck, and it probably had more miles off-road than it did on-road. And I know it was up in the 200,000, and we actually replaced the engine one time. But it was very fun and a ball to drive. It had a lot of room on the inside. Not compare it to the S10 of the Chevrolet. You feel like you're cramped in. This actually felt like a big truck on the inside, and the truck was just amazing how well it would pull in low 4. It would go straight up anything almost. But my son drove this, and he finally got rid of it. Can't remember why, but my brother drove it for a long time. We pulled the boats with it. We did everything with this truck, and I don't think I ever replaced it. Maybe I replaced the clutch one time. I can't remember, but it just seems like it went on forever. My dad was helping me. Well, I was actually changing the brakes on the back of this thing, and you have to have a special tool to back the parking brake off, and I didn't know what to do. So my dad looked at it and went downstairs and threw something together with some spare parts, came up there, and was able to back the parking brake off and get the brakes off and change it. I sure do miss him. He had a tragic ending in his life, and we'll go over that story one day if I can actually get it out. He was one of the best men that I ever knew, and one of the smartest. So be thankful for your fathers. Cody started driving when he was very young. I think this was it. I don't know where it was at. I'm sure it was probably Six Flags or something like that, but he started driving when he was very young. He he loved anything that he could drive fast, and so we got him this first little go-kart, and he used to run it around the yard when we had uh, the big yard, and he would come over hills and jump it, get up on two wheels. I don't think he ever rolled it over, but came close a few times. This one wasn't that fast, and it was fast enough for him to have fun. Now this one here was a little bit different. This was a little faster go-kart. It had a little bit more horsepower, and he was older here. He rode it a lot, and then my son graduated up to a four-wheeler, and he did everything on this thing. He went places that you could not believe. My brother and me were on Polaris's, I think 400 and 500s, and this thing kept right up with it everywhere we wanted to go. Cody would take it to the limit. I'm not sure how he got on this thing and a picture being taken without his helmet on. But anyway, back to the Cadillac. The silver one I drove for a long time, and actually I think my son drove it for a little while, but I never did have any luck with Cadillacs. I think the engine block finally cracked on it, or something. It died on us, so we filled it up with a glass pack, and then still drove it for another year and a half, I believe. But always had trouble with it. I drove it to Florida one time, and the air conditioning pump went out on it, and they said it was going to be $1,000 to get it fixed down on vacation. So we just bypassed the air conditioning pump. This Chevelle here was my brother's, and it was just a rust bucket when he first got it. He poured a lot of money in it, and it ran. It was really a nice car. I don't know why he sold it, but it was a beautiful car once he got finished with it. This little Sunbird I drove for a while. And it had a unreal stereo system that I put in it. It was really nice. A lot of people liked that. It was also my brother's at one time. This is my dad's Silverado pickup before it got wrecked. Somebody ran all over the back of it and knocked him in a ditch, and it landed on its side. And after that, he still drove it for years and years after that with the B&W appliance shop that he had, and it ran right up for a long time, and then finally the timing chain went out on it, and we sold it for junk after he passed away. This is my little Mitsubishi that I had, and I had it for a while, and it actually got wrecked one time. I was coming across the bridge, and I saw a wreck ahead of us, and I looked in my rearview mirror, and there was this big truck behind me, and I was putting on my brakes, slowing down for the traffic in front of me, and I could just see the guy looking at the police officer, and he wasn't looking at me. And by the time he realized everybody was stopping, it was too late. So the car got slammed into the rear of me, and then it got I slammed into the front of the car in front of me. Got it fixed, and then Robert, my stepson, he ended up with this car and drove it until he graduated high school, and I think he actually drove it until he graduated college. This is our Buick Enclave. We did everything in this. This car, you could drive at 110, 115 miles per hour, and you would never know it. It was just so smooth and a great traveling car. The only problem with these cars were the water pumps were bad on them, the power steering pumps were bad on them, the struts on them would go bad. Everything would go bad at 95,000 miles. And there's a reason that they don't warranty these cars for over 36,000 miles. But the car just fell apart. The transmission went out on it twice. But again, it was just a smooth car, smooth riding, great. It wasn't bad on gas and just fun to drive. And I just wish that the transmission and power steering and struts were better made on these cars. And this one right here, you can see Panther over there, which is the Ford truck of my dad's, and that's the Enclave. And that's Caitlin playing in the snow. We actually do get snow here in Georgia every once in a while. This was my wife's Thunderbird. After we got rid of the Enclave, she wanted a Thunderbird, and she actually said, I want to get what I want. And I said, what do you want? And she said, I want a Thunderbird. And I said, well, they don't make Thunderbirds no more. But she said that's what she wanted. And I said, what color you want? And she said gold. So I went on the internet, tried to find one, and guess what? There was two for sale in the United States. One was in Tennessee, one was in North Carolina. And so the one in Tennessee was a deluxe. The one in North Carolina was this one. This is the 50th anniversary. We did make some changes to it. When it was originally brand new, it didn't come with a hard top, but somebody put a hard top on it, and it was black. So, and when we got it, it had the camel color top on it, and we changed it out to a black top, canvas top. So now it's bronze and black, and with the soft top and hard top. And we call this Thunderbird Leonardo. And you can kind of see Star back there in the back. That's my wife's old car that we gave to Caitlin. This is our workhorse. This is one we go on our olive trips with and vacations on, and we bought it brand new after we got rid of the Enclave. This is called Penelope, and she's a very smooth riding car. Never, knock on wood, that she has never gave us any trouble. And to top it off, we got a letter from Kia saying that the motor might lock up at some point in time, and so if it does, bring it in and we'll replace it. And so, and that's the life of the car. And here you can see Stripes and Leonardo together. Stripes is my 2014 Camaro, and you can see a video about Stripes on our channel, the build of it, and Stripes runs very healthy and is fun to drive. But check out that video also, and let me know what you think. And this is the end of the show. So I'm sorry I left out a bunch of cars, but it's hard to find all the old pictures and everything. And if we run across them, we'll update you and let you know what's going on. Thank you for watching Loving the Real World, and hope you check us out later. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.